bad at all.
I don't watch new movies anymore. New movies just don't get it. They don't have it, they never wanted it, and why would they? Communists and Nepo babies and writers' strikes and DEI and cheap Chinese knockoff action films starring Jason Statham and everybody else from the last 40 years just milking them for everything they're worth. And now I'm old, I'm tired, and I'm worn out. And if I have to watch another tech demo for CGI with lasers or choreography demos that pretend to be movies with half the skill of a 1970s Golden Harvest production, I'm gonna shit a donkey. Like, the reason was because Lucas took all the air out of the room, and good for him. He made a gem because nobody wanted to sell him the rights for Flash Gordon. This movie was so good, he had to make Star Wars to try and compete. It's full of known actors, good ones too. Sir Ian McKellen was Gandalf back in Lord of the Rings, and Max von Sydow is Ming the Merciless. It's a generational thing. Action serials, all the rage in the 30s, the 40s, the 50s. The baby boomer generation got their movie version of the action adventure serial from the picture reels, the black and whites. Their parents loved when they were kids at the turn of the century, the book versions of that. So it was like Buck Rogers, Sherlock Holmes, Doc Savage, John Carter. They were awesome. Then they got a little burnt out from World War I and the Napoleonic Wars, so they made stuff like Flash Gordon because Buck Rogers was awesome, and they made this to be the Batman to the Marvel's Avengers. Hopefully this tradition is coming back, but I have my doubts. The best we've been able to do, Harry Potter, and I'm not going to lie, I'm not impressed. Our great-grandparents gave us a fine tradition of the action-adventure science fiction serial with the promise of tomorrow, and the oldest baby boomers tried their best, but their younger brothers screwed up the pooch. Gen X did their best to try and keep it going, but millennials made it all fake. And so while it cost them $20 million to make this, and it only made $27 million back, and if you don't know, generally speaking, a movie needs to make twice what it cost in box office returns to break even. They cleaned house on the back end. The beauty of cult classics back then, and the reason these movies aren't coming back anymore, is because these ones would sell a lot of DVDs, a lot of VHS tapes, and you just can't make that anymore because Netflix charges you a couple pennies a view. You can't make money off of that. All right, pause. Now I hate, and I mean I hate, YouTube movie reviews. I hate theater kids, I hate commie kids, I hate philosophy degrees, I hate jamming your fist into the cavity of the movie based on whatever nonsense you want to talk about. I hate people who love the special edition box sets and refuse to unwrap the movies because of original packaging. And you know what? The longer I am doing this channel, the more I am convinced that communists are retarded.
Bunch of slap-jawed faggots around here.
You got a German dude playing an Oriental villain, like an old school one. This is like the equivalent of like Asian blackface. Would totally be racist by today's standards. No one cares. You got one of the best franchises of the century, and there's barely any nerd action on this one. I guess they were off jerking into Star Wars. There is movie nerds. Thankfully, we got some assholes talking about the Blu-ray box set, but it could be a lot worse. The point is, you don't got feminists ragging on it, you don't got nerds ragging on it, you got a little bit of attention about people with like your top 10 lists and the AI slop, but... And it's like I haven't even started on some of the other characters. They have Scotsmen playing flying dwarves. Asians are playing evil warlords. They kill a black dude almost immediately after showing him off. The closest they get to a diverse cast is, I think, the princess is Russian. And I'm pretty sure the doctor is meant to be one of those small-hatted chosen people. He meddles and he ends up dooming the earth to destruction. I don't think you can say that kind of stuff about people from that country of origin anymore, or else they'll cancel you pretty hard. But I mean, whatever. In this case, it's fun. And no one cares. We really didn't know how good we had it. You can have all of this problematic stuff, and you can just not care because it's a good story, and you're enjoying yourself.
Never! No! Not a ballworm!
Father, The traitor is close to confession, Your Majesty. Should we stop the torture?
No.
Do you like Star Wars? Rock opera and weird special effects? How about the premise of a football star from the New York Jets on a quest to save the universe from a tyrant with his football skills? Well, I have the movie for you. Stories. Adventure stories. Perfectly told. In a world of the hero's journey, where villains are villainous, heroes are heroic, the damsels aren't useless but are in distress, where the sidekick is competent, and where it's a fantastical world that can be mined for eternity, comes a movie so awesome that George Lucas couldn't even get it. He loved it so much that he had to make Star Wars when they told him to pound sand. From the director that brought you morons from outer space comes the most fun you thought you could have had 44 years ago.
Now he showed promise.
What the
It's got Max von Sydow of 3 Days of the Condor and Dune. He was Patrick Stewart before Patrick Stewart was cool. It's got Timothy Dalton, James Effing Bond, based on the 1930s action-adventure serial and DC Cinematic Universe to Buck Rogers, the 1930s Marvel Cinematic Universe in this 100-year comic feud. This film will remind you what it's like to have fun and enjoy a movie. In a world of overly serious, diverse, and sloppily CGI nonsense, a film with 1980s special effects will make you feel, again, it's adventure, it's action, it's amazing. It's Flash Gordon, 1980.
So for the characters, you have Flash. He's played by Sam Jones. You may remember him from that Seth whatever movie with the teddy bear. They kind of treat him as a bit of a laughing stock, like an ironic posting. I don't like that. He's just a football player for the New York Jets, which is funny because the original books had him as a polo expert. But I mean, who plays polo anymore? Then you have Dale, his love interest, the princess in this one. She's Melanie Anderson. You might remember him if you ever remember her, sorry, if you watched the old Battlestar Galactica TV show before the 2000s. She was in that one. Then you have Dr. Zarkov. He's a guy named Topol. Topol? Anyways, he's the NASA scientist. He's the one that finds out about the Ming the Merciless world, and he's the one trying to stop this whole thing. But he ends up kind of screwing up humanity. Then, in the other dimension, you have Prince Baron, who is Timothy Dalton, the best of the James Bonds. You have Prince Vultan, who's Brian Blessed. He's the king of the Gungans, by the way. You remember the guy in the prequels? Yeah, that was him. Then you have Princess Aura. She's played by Ornella Moti. She's the daughter of Ming the Merciless, but she doesn't like him, and she's trying to help the rebellion. Then you have Ming the Merciless, Max von Sydow. You probably remember him from Dune, and I had him on 3 Days from the Condor, another video on this channel. He's the evilest of the villains. He's the one controlling the universe. And then you have Clytus, who's played by Peter Wingard. He's the metal-faced 2IC, the heavy. And look, it's an action-adventure serial. To be honest, the characters don't have arcs. What they do have is archetypes. Flash, all-American hero. Football star, Marine, blonde hair, everybody loves him, that sort of stuff. In the comics, he was a polo champ, but James Bond actually played Baccarat in the original books. So they had to change things up because who knows what polo is and nobody's ever heard of Baccarat. Dale, the Heartland girlfriend. She's just great, by the way. Princess Leia, yeah, that's Dale. Every strong, independent woman, if they were well written and properly done, it would be Dale. She is the archetype that spawned every princess. The one for Star Chaser, the one for Star Wars, God knows how many more. She is the template. And of course, technically it's the 1930s. The British Empire, still a thing. So Prince Baron is the Brits. Prince Vultan is the Scots. There's a black dude who I think is Ethiopian, but they kill him off pretty quick. And I know there's some backstory about his whole world in the books, but for the movie, it's not important. Then you have Ming. He's the all-powerful baddie, and everybody is scared of him. He is the Emperor of Star Wars through and through. He's got a fancy magic ring, which they kind of stole from Spaceball, or for Spaceballs. Remember Spaceballs? The little laser ring. Anyways, they got Clytus, which, if you didn't know, was the inspiration for Destro from G.I. Joe. Every time you got a dude with like the man with the iron mask, yeah, that's essentially this character. Isn't it great? Everything that was cool that you grew up with, it's all here. It's like seeing a party, but it's got everybody's dad in it. Oh, then you got Princess Aura. She's the evil daughter, but she's seductive. She's a femme fatale. She actually hates her dad. She's the most realistic character in this world because while guys don't come with wings, women definitely come with daddy issues. And again, action-adventure serial. There's no surprises. There's no setups. There's no payoffs. There's no reveals. There's none of that stuff. It is an adventure. It is a serial. It is 100% catharsis. You are meant to have fun. You are meant to have it as awesome. You are meant with every new adventure in a new fantastic world with strange rituals, odd weapons, different cultures, death-defying situation that Flash manages to get out with just the gosh darn power of America. You have to remember, this was written in the 1930s and the 1940s. Everybody was traveling the world. We had just discovered the King Tut's tomb. The biggest things around that time were like the Mummy, 10,000 Leagues Under the Sea, Sherlock Holmes, the original serial action hero. Everything was about learning about the last secrets of the world, the dark continent, the bottom of the ocean. We didn't have space back then, but we had some cool shit here. So think of it like an amusement park. It's not peak cinema, but it's peak fun and it's peak storytelling. Everybody gave Scorsese shit for calling the Avengers an amusement park, but I don't think he was being critical. He wanted people to know that there was movies that were cinema, and then there was movies that were adventure park movies. And there's room for both. This just happens to be the adventure park. And the part that I want to leave you with is, and this is a 1980s idea. They did it with Dungeons and Dragons. They did it with Warhammer. They did it with fantasy movies in general, like Legend, Neverending Story, all of them. All of it. They would add stuff because it was cool. And the verisimilitude, or the idea of making things real within the confines of the story, was way superior to actual realism. Like, wrestling isn't real, but WrestleMania will beat a Waffle House fight any day of the week. Like, you're going to see, across the entire genre, you'll see things where they'll put, like, Vikings with dinosaurs. They'll have Nazis fighting the undead and skeletons. You'll have Aztec temples with laser pistols. And it's just like, you know what? Just throw it against the wall. It'll be fine. And since everything is so fantastical, you just accept things as you see them. You don't have to worry about autists going, well, technically you wouldn't have lasers. And shut up. Shut up. All right, the plot. I love the plot. It's fun. It actually has a lot going on, but it's surprisingly simple. So it starts off, you got Queen with their music video, Flash Gordon, in a 1970s style, like, collage of photographs and videos and stuff like that. It starts off, they're flying. Flash and his girl. Doc Zarkov, he's in his little lab and he wants to fly to this new dimension. Apparently the moon is coming crashing onto Earth and he has a feeling he knows what's causing it. But as the moon gets closer, it creates this storm. Now the storm crashes Flash in his plane. They end up crashing on the area where the Doc is setting up his rocket to fly to the new dimension. So the Doc ends up kidnapping him, takes him into this new dimension with him. So you get a bunch of psychedelic stuff, and then they land in the new dimension. They're met by a bunch of weird royal guards, and they're taken prisoner. A bunch of fancy weapons. Then they're brought before the leader of the world, Ming the Merciless. And you meet everybody here. You're going to meet Vultan, you're going to meet Baron, you're going to meet the Clytus, Princess Aura, the various little armed guards he's got. Everybody looks weird, everybody looks different. It's kind of interesting. So at one point, Flash realizes that his life's on the line, so he makes a break for it. And he almost wins. He starts taking these guys out with his fancy football fighting technique. They end up having a football-sized iron sphere in there that he uses to take these guys out. The thing about these fight scenes is that they're meant to be fun. Like, they have a lot of comedic timings to them, a lot of unrealistic attacks. It kind of takes an extreme version of the fighting theatrics like you see in movies like Roadhouse and that. The complete opposite end of the spectrum for like realistic fights when you see stuff like The Riot. So you're meant just to sit back and enjoy. Anyways, so Ming wants to execute him for this, but his daughter, she's like, I want to have a plaything first. So he's like, all right, fine. So they stage a mock execution. Aura ends up breaking him out afterwards because she's technically part of some kind of resistance. So she flies him off to a different place. But you skip back, Ming torturing the Doctor. And he lets him know the reason he wants to destroy Earth is because they know of the words Mings. So the Doc, the fact that he did all that research is what doomed the Earth. And that's when he realized this was all his fault. Skip back, you got Princess Aura. She's teaching Flash to fly the plane. And she's taking him to Prince Barian. On the way, she teaches him to use the telepath machine. And he calls his girl, lets her know what's up. He tells her, flirt with Ming, keep him busy. When I get back there, I'll free you out. And she's like, I don't know if I can flirt with. She's like, come on, girls know how to do this easy. Fake him out. The girl, she changes her mind. She breaks out. And then she ends up finding the Doc. So when they did that torture to him, they technically wiped his memory. And they're turning him into a slave agent. And so they're using him to bait the girl until they're both getting capped again. But turns out the Doc tricked Ming. In his head, he's like, do you know how they couldn't remove my memory? He started reciting Shakespeare, and it prevented them from moving his memory. So as they escape, they run into Voltan. So on Phrygia, Prince Barian kidnaps Flash and rejects his offer to help him fight Ming. Back in Ming's castle, Ming is pissed off. Clytus says, hey, can I follow the leads wherever they go? So they find out it's the daughter that helped everybody escape. So she's tortured in the back. They're whipping her back and all that stuff. And Ming's palace to try and get a confession. Ming finds out. He's like, well, F it. Skip back to Prince Vultan, where he's got, the Doc and them. And he has plans to give the girl and the Doc back to Ming to buy some time while they set up for their invasion. But they tell him, you know what, Flash is alive. He's with Prince Barian. We can all team up together and do this as a group. Skip back to Phrygia. Barian plays Russian roulette with Flash. It's some weird game where they have to stick their hand into the thing and a monster bites them, drives them crazy, and they kill each other. But Flash tricks him, escapes, and Barian goes out into the swamps to go hunt him. Remember when I was talking in my Star Chaser Legend of Orin video how there's always got to be a swamp planet with like fantastical mutated monsters? Yeah, that's the one for this. Anyways, at one point, Flash almost gets killed by one of the swamp monsters. Barian finds him, frees him from that, and he's about to kill him when Voltan takes them all captured, or captures them all, takes them to the Sky Capital. So now Barian and Flash are hostage, as well as the Doc and the chick. So Barian demands trial by combat. He wants to kill Flash. Flash ends up beating him, but he ends up saving his life at the end. So he ends up making a friend. Clytus. Anyways, he ends up finding out that all this stuff is going on. He flies down and he interrupts the entire thing. He's going to arrest Barian. He's going to arrest all of them, and he wants Voltan to help him. So Flash says, heck with that, kills Voltan, and Barian freaks out. He's like, I gotta get out of here. I gotta run away. Or Voltan, sorry. So he escapes, and he leaves Barian and Flash and all of them to fight Ming. Once he finds out what's happened, he's going to destroy them all. Ming, before though, kidnaps everybody else, comes back down. He's like, I'm impressed with you, Flash. You're actually a pretty good fighter. And I have a new spot in my organization opening up. Why don't you rule Earth for me? And Flash is like, no, not going to do it. So he's like, fine, you're dead then. He takes off in his ship, goes to blow up the planet. He ends up escaping, actually, in some escape pod, but everybody thinks he's dead again. So you get back to the capital. Ming has got everybody captured now. His plans: his daughter is going to get exiled to the ice planet. He's going to marry Flash's girl. Flash escapes death, flies to the capital on a speeder, but a bunch of guys who didn't want to interrupt Ming during his wedding they held him off with laser fire. Which, also, Big Trouble in Little China, if you watch that movie, the end with the wedding and Lopan and that, directly taken from this kind of scene as well. So, Flash, while he's crashing on his speeder, he appeals to Voltan. He's like, come on, we can do this. I need your help. So Voltan changes his mind. So, Flash, while he's crashing on his speeder, he appeals to Voltan. He's like, come on, we can do this. I need your help. So Voltan changes his mind, comes back down, saves his life. Back in Ming's palace, Princess Aura takes out the guard that's going to exile her, breaks the dock out, breaks Barian out of prison. Voltan takes Ming's ship, the one that was on his planet. In his plan, I'm going to crash into the castle, get rid of that shield that's covering it so we can get in and take everybody out. So you get all of this action going on. I'm not going to skip it beat for beat. It's like multiple plots, multiple characters coming together. If you remember that scene in Star Wars, like you notice how there's like 3 separate plot lines coming together. It's the same thing here. You've got Ming and his thing. You've got Voltan and his thing. And they converge here. Anyways, Flash crashes the plane, kills Ming, saves the Earth. Wahoo. Anyways, this film is fun. If you haven't watched Star Wars, if you haven't watched Buck Rogers, Battlestar Galactica, Buckaroo Banzai, or like the dozen films that heavily borrow from this, you can still enjoy it on its own merits. Like, it's not heavy, but it's cool. And there used to be tons of these stories in books, in movies, in comics. This used to be the norm. Now they had to go and ruin it. They made it full of lesbians and political commentary, and they forgot the fun and the adventure in Fun Adventures. It's now just CGI slop that's like overt propaganda that's horribly written, which is the worst kind. Look, films had Star Wars, films had Flash Gordon, books had Buck Rogers, and comics had Raoul Fulgrex from Heavy Metal. It's one Jenga piece in a pillar of awesome, fun entertainment that you can sit back and enjoy. It's all of the great sci-fi action adventures where a family, this one's their dad. And he's drunk and he's about to go off at the Christmas dinner table. So enjoy it, because I damn well did. Cheers, fellas.